Hare Krishna. Welcome all of you for today's session. Let us begin with prayers. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from the book Sri Ishopanishad, the knowledge that brings one nearer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, by His Divine Grace, Vishwaguru, Abhay Charanaravinda, Bhakti Vedanta, Swami Srila Prabhupada. Mantra 10. Anyadevahur vidyaya, anyadahur avidyaya, iti shushrumadhiranam yenas tadvicha chakshire. Translation and purport by Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. We will read from the part where we left in the last session. There are innumerable suns and innumerable planetary systems also. As infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, we small creatures are trying to dominate these unlimited planets. Thus, we take repeated birth and death and are generally frustrated by old age and disease. The span of human life is scheduled for about 100 years, although it is gradually decreasing to 20 or 30 years. Thanks to the culture of nescience, befooled men have created their own nations within these planets in order to grasp sense enjoyment more effectively for these few years. Such foolish people draw up various plans to render national demarcations perfectly, a task that is totally impossible. Yet, for this purpose, each and every nation has become a source of anxiety for others. More than 50% of a nation's energy is devoted to defense measures and thus spoiled. No one cares for the cultivation of real knowledge, yet people are falsely proud of being advanced in both material and spiritual knowledge. Sri Ishopanishad warns us of this faulty type of education, and the Bhagavad Gita gives instructions as to the development of real knowledge. This mantra states that the instructions of Vidya or knowledge must be acquired from a Dhira. A Dhira is one who is not disturbed by material illusion. No one can be undisturbed unless he is perfectly spiritually realized, at which time one neither hankers nor laments for anything. A Dhira realizes that the material body and mind he has acquired by chance through material association are but foreign elements. Therefore, he simply makes the best use of a bad bargain. The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entity. The living entity has actual functions in the living spiritual world, but this material world is dead. As long as the living spiritual sparks manipulate the dead lumps of matter, the dead world appears to be a living world. Actually, it is the living souls, the parts and parcels of the Supreme Living Being, who move the world. The Dhiras have come to know all these facts. by hearing them from superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles. To follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and regulative principles come down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in the hazardous way of nascent education. One can become a dhira only by submissively hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Arjuna, for example, became a dhira by submissively hearing from Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead himself. Thus, the perfect disciple must be like Arjuna, and the spiritual master must be as good as the Lord himself. This is the process of learning vidya, knowledge, from the dhira, the undisturbed. An adhira, one who has not undergone the training of a dhira, cannot be an instructive leader. Modern politicians who pose themselves as dhiras are actually adhiras, and one cannot expect perfect knowledge from them. They are simply busy seeing to their own remuneration in dollars and cents. How then can they lead the mass of people to the right path of self-realization? Thus, one must hear submissively from a dhira in order to attain actual education. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport. So we have been discussing the mantra 10 of Sri Isopanishad from the past 4 sessions. Today is the 5th session we are discussing. And this mantra says that one kind of a result is derived by the cultivation of vidya or knowledge, and an opposite kind of a result is derived by cultivation of avidya or nescience. And we have seen the 18 items of vidya or knowledge that we have discussed based on Lord Krishna's instructions in the 13th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So, in the modern day civilization, the real knowledge, spiritual knowledge, is ignored, and a lot of emphasis is put on material knowledge. And people think that if I become equipped with this material knowledge, I can earn good money, and by that money, I can afford all luxuries, all comforts, all kinds of sense pleasures, and by that, I can lead a happy and satisfied life. This is the program of the modern day world. That means the whole education system is simply pushing people into acquiring material knowledge and skills which will enable them to earn some money. And they think that is knowledge, that is education, and that is how we can be happy. But this is the greatest illusion going on. Srila Prabhupada often compared the modern universities to slaughterhouses. Just like animals are sent to slaughterhouses, the animals are innocent, they are sent to the slaughterhouses, and the butchers there mercilessly kill these animals and sell their flesh. This is what is going on in the slaughterhouses. And of course, today we have technologically advanced slaughterhouses where there are mechanized ways of mass killing the animals and producing huge tons of flesh for the meat eaters of the world. Srila Prabhupada compared this slaughterhouse, the modern education centers or the universities to slaughterhouses, because when a child goes to school, he is taught only material knowledge, and he is not trained in understanding who actually he is. So, who am I? People think I am a boy, I am a woman, I am a doctor, I am an Indian, I am a Hindu. These are the designations, but who are you? There is no such education given about who is one in actually. And so people develop a misconception that I am this body and I have to maintain my body. For that, I need money. If I need money, I need employment. And what is the employment? Why will a company employ me? Only when I have their material skills that they are looking for. So there are so many companies, industries, and they are manufacturing so many things. And I need to learn how to work in those companies or industries. So only that much knowledge is sufficient for me. This is the thinking. So Srila Prabhupada said, just like the animals are getting killed in a slaughterhouse, the very spirit of human life is getting killed in the modern day education centers, schools and colleges, because there is no spiritual education imparted. Therefore, the modern education centers are like slaughterhouses. And we have already seen this in the isopanishad, that such a soul-killing civilization can never be happy, can never be peaceful, can never be satisfied, even though they may advance in material science and technology to whatever extent. That means there is a great need for spiritual education. So the modern education system has failed miserably in catering to this need, the spiritual knowledge and culture development in human society. And that is why we see, even though people are so much educated, even though there are so many luxurious things, still people are addicted to so many things, sense pleasures. Still people are engaged in various kinds of sinful activities, criminal activities. Crime is always rising. So if education should really make people sane, if education is really making people intelligent, sane, then why are criminal activities increasing? There is no answer to this. The answer actually is because of lack of spiritual education. So Ishopanishad is very clearly telling that the modern civilization has actually gone off track. And that is the reason why there are so many anomalies, so many aberrations in the society. It has to be set right. The leaders themselves should first get spiritually educated. Or those who are already spiritually educated should occupy the leader position in the society. This is very important. So we are all discussing Ishopanishad every day, and we are discussing the spiritual knowledge, how important it is. Each one of us, we play leadership role in our own way. Some of us are guiding families. Some of us are, we are in a position where there are people reporting to us in our offices, in our workplaces. So we all have opportunity to lead everyone, to make people, whomever we are in touch with, to make them aware of the importance and necessity of spiritual knowledge. It is our duty to actually impart spiritual knowledge in an interesting manner to the people whom we are in touch with. This is how the society, the thinking of the people can change. Without spiritual knowledge, without Krishna conscious education, it is not possible to bring about any transformation in the lives of people. And the society will continue in the same manner. In fact, it will degrade more and more. Yadyad acharati shreshtaha tattad evetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Krishna says this in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He says, whatever a great person does, everybody follows in his footsteps. Whatever standards he sets by his exemplary behavior, the whole world follows. So we need right leaders, leaders who have good character, leaders who have a spiritual outlook, leaders who are conversant of the spiritual knowledge that is very much required in today's society. So each one of us, we must become fully conversant with the knowledge that Srila Prabhupada is presenting in his books, and we should ourselves practice it, and we should share this with others. This is the only way to actually bring about a change in the society. Otherwise, we can always keep saying, "Oh, the system is not good. Education system is not good. Oh, the government system is not good." We can keep on blaming, but there is no use. There is no use from this blame game. We must do something to actually impart this spiritual knowledge to one and all. And our spiritual master, out of great compassion, Srila Prabhupada, in his advanced age, he took this so seriously. He traveled across the globe. He went to foreign lands where people had never heard about Bhagavad Gita, where people were simply absorbed in sinful addictions. To such people, Srila Prabhupada spoke this knowledge, and he just did not give lectures and come back. He actually made sure that there is transformation in their hearts. Srila Prabhupada transplanted an entire culture into the hearts of the Westerners, not only Westerners, people all over the world. And this Hare Krishna movement is a revolution, which is a saving grace for the modern Kali Yuga. And we are all fortunate that we have come in touch with Srila Prabhupada's Hare Krishna movement. But we should contribute to this mission, to this great mission, by being always conscious of this knowledge, practicing this knowledge in our daily life. And we should also impart this knowledge to others. That's a very important responsibility, especially of those who are born in India, Bharata Varsha. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. So Srila Prabhupada is saying here in this part of the purport that we just now read, we see because people are identifying themselves with their bodies, and because they think, I am the body, no, I need to secure my position in this world. So they have divided the world into different countries. And these divisions are not naturally existing. These are actually political divisions, isn't it? These are man-made demarcations. And one country says, I want to be superior than the other country. So they are trying to do so much of so-called material advancement. More than 50, in many countries, more than a big percentage of their gross domestic product, GDP, is dedicated for defense purpose, for manufacturing weapons, especially the stockpiling of nuclear weapons is going on. And if there is a third world war, the entire world will get wiped out, because practically every country has got this nuclear weapons, and one atomic bomb can destroy an entire city. It can cause such great damage. We all remember how in the year 1945, when the US dropped the atomic bombs on the two cities of Japan, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, what scale of destruction it caused. And in fact, the aftermath, not only huge number of people were killed, even the future generations, even the children who are born after that, they are still suffering from the aftermath of those atomic bombs. That means people have become crazy. And what is the reason for this? The reason is, my nation is superior than your nation. I need to control everybody. I need to be the big brother. This is the understanding. And what is the root cause of this understanding? It is the bodily conception of life. Practically, people do not know that they are not their temporary bodies. They are actually eternal spirit souls. And everybody is a part and parcel of Krishna. So it doesn't matter whether one is an American or a Japanese or an Indian. The bodies may be different, but actually inside each body, it is the same spirit soul. And the soul, all the souls are actually parts and parcels of the same Supreme Lord. We all belong to the same eternal Father, Krishna. So why should we consider we are superior, they are inferior? No, we all belong to the same family. Krishna is our Father. So this knowledge is lacking. And that is the reason why people are fighting. like cats and dogs. Nations are fighting, right? So Ishopanishad is warning us, this is the result of cultivating avidya. The modern warfare, war is going on even now in the Middle East. We keep hearing about the updates in the news. There's a lot of threat to people's life. There is no safety. Families are always under threat. My child may not live tomorrow. Parents are in such a pathetic, horrible condition. War, the whole, somebody said, why do we have war? We have wars so that we can be peaceful. Look at the irony. It's a big irony, contradiction. We are fighting wars so that there can be peace. So is this the way? So this is not the way. So this is all because of avidya. So there is no real vidya being disseminated in the human society. And it all starts with the education system itself, isn't it? So therefore it's important that we cultivate vidya, real knowledge. And this mantra of Ishopanishad is telling, if you want real vidya, you must approach a dhira. Dhira means a sober person. Dhira means a person who is not disturbed by material illusion. As Krishna says in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatrana muhyati. So a person who is sober, he is not disturbed by the changes that are happening with the body, because he knows that I have changed body many times, even in this life. From boyhood to youth to old age, I have changed bodies. Now death is nothing but another change of body. I am not the body in the first place. I am actually spirit soul. I am part and parcel of Krishna. One who has realization of this fact, such a person is called dhira. So a dhira is not disturbed by the changes which are taking place on the bodily platform. He identifies himself as a spirit soul, as a part and parcel of Krishna. Such a dhira, he who has complete realization of his real identity as a servant of Krishna, such a dhira is actually the one from whom we should receive spiritual knowledge. Right? So, the spiritual master who is coming in the bona fide parampara system is a dhira. He is not disturbed by the bodily changes that we can see in the life of Srila Prabhupada. Otherwise, in that advanced age, how can one suffering 2 heart attacks travel across the ocean just to go and speak to the Westerners the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita? Was he going for making name and fame? No. Even though there was so much disturbance on the bodily platform, he was not at all shaken up. Srila Prabhupada went ahead and executed his duty, that the order of his spiritual master. So, if one is a dhira, how to become a dhira, right? So Prabhupada says here, the dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles. So if one has to become a dhira, become undisturbed by bodily changes, then one has to do 2 things. One is one should hear from the spiritual authorities. One has to hear real knowledge from the spiritual authorities, the spiritual master, the acharya. And the second thing is one must follow the regulative principles. Only by following the regulative principles with the spiritual knowledge, one can become a dhira. And Prabhupada says, to follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. So without taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, it is not possible for one to actually develop the determination to follow the regulative principles. A disciple commits to the spiritual master at the time of Diksha He says, I will follow the regulative principles because it is your order and because it is meant for my spiritual progress. So there is a personal commitment between the disciple and the spiritual master. And in return, the spiritual master commits that I will deliver you from this material world. So there is a mutual commitment based relationship between the spiritual master and the disciple. And it is an eternal relationship. So, Chakshudan diloje janme janme prabhu se. So, life after life, the spiritual master takes care of the jiva who has taken shelter of him as his disciple until he is completely delivered from the spiritual to the material from the material world. The spiritual master also remains in the material world until his disciple is delivered to the spiritual world. So that is the commitment the spiritual master has to deliver his disciples. So once we take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, it means we are serious in our spiritual practice and we commit to him. Yes, I will follow your order. I will redesign my life based on your instructions. That is the meaning of taking Diksha. I will redesign my life. I will rework my commitments, my priorities in life so that I will follow your instructions. That is the meaning of accepting a spiritual master. Prabhupada often said, accepting a spiritual master is not a matter of fashion. Oh, I also have one guru. No, it is not like that. Accepting a spiritual master means committing to follow his instructions sincerely and seriously. So a practitioner who has taken shelter of such a bona fide dhira spiritual master and who is taking instructions from him will develop the determination to follow the regulative principles. So here Prabhupada says, one can become a dhira only by submissive hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. And Prabhupada gives an example, the example of Arjuna. Arjuna became a dhira because he submitted to Krishna. Submissively, he heard from Krishna. And what did Arjuna say? Shishyasteham shadhimam tvam prapannam. I am your shishya, I am surrendering to you. Prapannam means to surrender. You please instruct me what is best for me. So this kind of a attitude is important. If you want to gain vidya, if you want to become a dhira, if you want to become fixed up in following the regulative principles, one must develop this attitude of surrender and submission to the spiritual master and receive his instructions very seriously, and with great determination one should try to execute those instructions. Then one can become a dhira. Now, Prabhupada says towards the end of this purport, an adhira cannot be an instructive leader. A person who is adhira means he himself is not fixed up on spiritual platform. He himself is not following the regulative principles. He is disturbed because of the bodily material conditions. Such a person is adhira, and such an adhira cannot instruct others, cannot inspire others to become dhira. So the problem with today's modern society is the leaders are not dhira, they are adhira. And the result we are seeing, their policies, their decisions, their laws that they are passing in the parliament, these are all full of flaws. These are all simply based on temporary benefits, material benefits. There is no far-reaching, there is no higher purpose behind those laws or their policies. And the result is the ordinary people, the common people, who are mostly ignorant and innocent, they are all misled. And this is very nicely explained by Srila Prabhupada and Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto of Bhagavatam, where he says, Andha yathandhair upaniyamana. One blind man is leading another set of blind men. And the result is all of them will go and fall into a ditch. That is happening in today's modern so-called leadership of this world. So if the situation has to change, we all should actually take a sankalpa. I will follow very seriously what Srila Prabhupada is saying. And in my own circle, I will try to share this knowledge with people. I will try to inspire people to become a dhira by taking up Krishna consciousness. I will inspire them to read Srila Prabhupada books. Prabhupada said, even if 1% of the whole world becomes Krishna conscious, then the whole situation can change. If 1% population can become Krishna conscious, the situation can change. So therefore, all of us have two important duties to do as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One is we ourselves should become fixed up in Krishna consciousness, and then we should also share this message of Krishna consciousness with one and all, with more and more people. The best way is, we may say, I don't know philosophy, I can't quote, I can't convincingly present. No problem. You just hand over a book of Srila Prabhupada to people. Prabhupada will do the magic. If they read Prabhupada books, Prabhupada will do the preaching. And Prabhupada's conviction is so high, when anybody reads Prabhupada's books, he will get convinced. There will be a transformation in his or her heart. And that is very much needed. So let us all read Srila Prabhupada's books, follow them, follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, try our best to follow, and then let us also distribute Srila Prabhupada's books. So that is the lesson that we can derive from this part of the purport. So we have completed discussing 10 mantras of Isopanishad. There are 8 more mantras we will discuss in the coming sessions. And today is the last day of the Purushottama Masa. In a short while, we will be reciting the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yoga. I request you to please stay online. So we'll close the session. Shri Isopanishad ki jai. Vishwaguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.